It's been kind of hard, but things will smooth out. God always provides for me and my son. I always pray for God's provision. When things are foggy and I need clarity, I always pray to God. And I remember over the weekend, I was just having a difficult time. I was having a difficult weekend. It was hard for me. And I think it had a lot to do with my son. It had a lot to do with things that was going on with my daughter. And it had a lot to do with my mother said she thought it had a lot to do with some unresolved feelings that I had about being a single mom. Because remember, it took me a long time to feel comfortable with being a single mother, because this was not something that I signed up for at all. And I had to like make a decision during my pregnancy about whether or not I wanted to abort my son or put my son up for adoption or to keep my son and raise him by myself. And so I had to make a decision on my own about it. And it was just like, getting an abortion, it just felt like that would just be wrong, because he did not deserve that. Kids don't deserve, if their parents are not like getting along, they don't deserve to be unalived because of that. Of course, I would love a stable home with two parents and shit like that. I mean, my daughter had both of her parents, and we spent a lot of her life living together to make sure she had both of her parents in the household so she could be, well-rounded, or we at least tried to live close to each other when we were living in the same state. Sometimes he would, be in our hometown and I'd be in Atlanta, or, we'd just be in two different places. So we would take turns with her. And my daughter got to experience, what it was like to have both of her parents. And I really wish that for my son. But my son, it's just no way in the world my son would be able to have that. And that's unfortunate for him. I mean, he'll never have it. And I know what that feels like, because I never had my biological father around. After I turned about 7, he was gone. I don't think I talked to him again until I was like almost 27, 28. I did have my stepfather for a couple of years, but he wasn't like the best stepfather in the world. He did teach me a lot, but he wasn't like, he was violating me. He was like molesting me. So that is like a whole nother, but with my son, I had to decide, being a single mom on my own and taking care of him by myself. It's hurtful, because deep down inside, that's not what I wanted for him or me. You know what I mean? It's not something I would have wanted for anyone involved in it. And my mom was saying to me, I think that you're dealing with the fact that you had some issues about being a single mom and you had got over it, and now it's resurfaced because you went to family court on Thursday. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like, of course, putting my son up for adoption or having an abortion is cruel. It's some cruel shit. So I never would have thought to do that. But I never would have wanted him to be in a position to where I'm taking care of him alone. That is just like, I know other women like take pride in that and they think that's so cool, and they just, you know what I mean? Like, I can do it. I am woman, hear me roar and all that fucking shit. For me, it's just like, I've always wanted like a solid family structure. And so for it to not be what's happening, and to have to deal with other women associated with that not happening. Like, sometimes as women, and I haven't done this, but maybe I should. I'm gonna do it right now. But for a lot of women, we tend to, women have compared themselves to other women. Like, how women will be like, well, all of the things I wanted in my relationship, I didn't get, and he gave it to the next woman. And then you'll hear another woman be like, don't think that the men who moved on to a new woman is giving her the same things, because clearly he hasn't grown. He's probably doing the same things. How I always hear, and I posted a video yesterday of a man explaining to women to stop dating men who don't take care of their kids, and how women who date men who don't take care of their kids are completely fine with the disrespect and disloyalty as long as he isn't doing it to them, but it's only a matter of time that he'll end up doing it to them, right? So he was saying that in his video. So I posted that, and I think what's could be hurtful to a lot of women, and I'm speaking from experience, what could be hurtful to a lot of women is the idea that they're raising children by themselves, and the fathers of their children aren't taking care of their children, but they're taking care of the children of other women that they may be attached to sexually, or maybe in a relationship with, or maybe married to. And a lot of women, internalize that. And I'm the type of woman, I don't internalize some shit like that. I just think something is like wrong with a man who does something like that. I don't internalize it. I don't take it in, and I don't compare myself to other women and their experiences. Now, I'm also the type of person, like, I hope that people, right, who have like a terrible past grow up and like change, right, to where they can meet another person and be different for that person, and that person never even experienced what the people in the past experienced. Because some people learn their lesson and they change and be different. I mean, some people, we're not talking about all, like most people, especially men don't, but there are a lot of people who learn a lesson and they just go on the straight and narrow after that, right? Some people are remarkable like that. Some people self-evaluate, they're self-aware. But some people, they never change and they're still doing the same fucked up shit that they was doing before to other people. But for me, I hope that when people change and they grow and they become like better people, there are people that have enough sense to say to the people of that person's past, I'm sorry things happened to you and that person was that way towards you. And I'm so grateful that I don't get that version of that person, because I don't see that person. I never got to experience that. And I'm so glad I got the chance to be around that person when they grew out of all of the negative shit that they do. You know what I mean? I think more women should take that stance when they're dealing with like baby mamas or ex-girlfriends or ex-wives and shit like that. Like, I think it is remarkable for a woman to take that stance and just, instead of being mad at ex-girlfriends and ex-baby mamas and shit like that, like thinking you don't one up to baby mama because you're like treated better, or you're like getting something that she isn't getting, instead of like throwing in her face, oh, I'm getting married and you're not, if you wasn't so stupid, this would be you, or, such and such. Because in your past relationships, like, if you've been in a relationship with somebody, that a lot of times people lie about their experiences with their exes, especially men. Like, men are so guilty of this shit. I know women do it too, but men are so guilty of this shit. They lie about their exes all the time. So when you're dating a guy and he starts talking to you about his ex and stuff, you kind of got to be like, okay, like whatever. Like, all right, you can see, you know what I mean? So you kind of got to be like, take it with a grain of salt and try not to have a lot of conversations about the past. I mean, you can talk about it, but I think trying to, you never really know whether the truth is being told to you or not by that person. So you got to take the kind of stance in it that's like, okay, if I ever, run into that person, and that person has something negative to say to me about you, I could easily be like, I'm so sorry that you got that version of that person, because that person doesn't treat me that way, and I'm just so grateful that that person does it. You know what I mean? Like, that is a good stance to have. I think that's like remarkable. And so anyway, women tend to use motherhood as a tool, as a weapon of war against other women. And it's unfortunate that women do that so much. Like, I've seen on TikTok, I've seen bio moms and stepmoms arguing back and forth. Last week, I posted a video of a stepmom talking about how bio moms should be grateful that their kids call their stepmom their mother. And I was saying, mom is such a honorable position and an honorable name to be called. Children who do not belong to their stepmom shouldn't feel comfortable with calling their stepmother mom. And, I listed a whole bunch of reasons why that was like that. Why I felt like that, because I'm a mom, I wouldn't want to, I've never called my mother another woman other than my mother mom. Like, I would never do no shit like that. And so anyway, there's a lot of, women use motherhood as war. Women have used children to harm women. There are women out there who have tried to use my son against me. And it's unfortunate because as a woman, as a mother, the kind of mother I am, I would never use a child to harm a woman. And a lot of times women are so deviously like that they'll use other people's children and then they'll think you'll use their children. You know what I mean? But even if they don't know each other, like maybe they don't share the same man or they don't share the same, whatever. They don't really know each other like that. Or maybe they was friends at some point. Like what the live stream is about today is about Evelyn Lozada and Jennifer Williams, right? So if you haven't watched Basketball Wives, I used to watch Basketball Wives a while ago. I used to watch, I haven't watched it so much lately, but this season I've been watching it because Brittany Renner is on there. And I think she was on last season, but I didn't even check it out. I like who she is this season because you know me, I'm like big on like spirituality and metaphysics and like religion and stuff like that, theology. And I see that Brittany Renner has made like this transition and now she's Islamic, right? So I just wanted to see that, and actually haven't watched any episodes, but it's easier to watch it in clips for me because I don't have a lot of time to sit still and watch a whole season yet. So I watch like a lot of the clips on TikTok, and right now Evelyn Lozada and Jennifer Williams are feuding, and there was a time where they used to be best friends, so it confused me that they're feuding right now. But what's happening is there was a leaked audio clip from season 12's reunion where Evelyn criticized Jennifer's relationship with her husband. Now, the whole season, that's what Evelyn has been doing. Jennifer just got married to Christian Gold. Okay. And Christian Gold is basically known as one of those scammers out there. And he's been labeled like a felon. I think he's been to prison already. And Evelyn has basically been telling Jennifer, this is not a man that you should be dating. Particularly because Christian is a part of like allegedly a part of this like Ponzi scheme, and it's being reported, it's under investigation with the FBI. So as Jennifer and Evelyn are going back and forth these couple of first episodes about this dude, it's seeming to me that Evelyn doesn't really have a storyline at this point because right now, her daughter just had a baby with the game. And that was one thing I was saying when Evelyn was getting on Jennifer about dating a felon. I was like, well, your daughter Shanice just had a baby with a felon, also a man who just lost his $5 million mansion in a lawsuit against someone he sexually assaulted on one of his reality TV shows years ago. I think it was on VH1. It was called She Got Game, and it was like a dating thing or whatever. And he sexually assaulted one of the cast members, and the cast member sued him and won. And because she won, he needed to pay her a certain amount of money, and he wasn't paying it. So the judge basically seized his mansion, basically, right? And so Evelyn's daughter, Shanice, is dating the game, and they just had a baby. Right. So Jennifer was basically saying to Evelyn, like, you are in no position to be talking about, anything associated with me dating a felon when your daughter is dating a felon. And so Evelyn was like pissed on some, don't put my daughter's name in your mouth. And then she started talking about how her son's father, Carl's cousin, was frauded and scammed by Christian Gold, who is Jennifer's husband. And so anyway, Jennifer basically accused Evelyn of hypocrisy, basically pointing out that Evelyn's daughter Shanice has a child with the gang, and he has a criminal record as well, like I said. And Jennifer alleged that Evelyn has a history of targeting Black women, saying it might be Evelyn really has something against Black women. Every season she's trying to go in on a Black woman, and that's very true that she does do that. So in retaliation, she started sharing court documents on Instagram alleging that Christian O's back child support has skipped his prior hearings for 2 of his kids. Now, I didn't even know dude had kids. That is a whole nother thing. Like, I had no clue.
Want full access to my live stream replays? Then become a channel member and don't miss a minute.